Hello, my name is Brayden Oski.
I'm Austin Morales.
And I'm Jason Hobbs.
And you're watching Dinner Gamer On.
And today we're going to be talking about Cyberpunk 2077 is finally getting some praise. Was it deserved? Was it not deserved? We talk about that. Plus, they have a new update coming out next year and much, much more. Come on in. The water's warm. It's a great time to be alive. Let's go talk about Cyberpunk 2077 in the future.
And as always, like, subscribe, bang that bell, because what's better than warm water?
I didn't pee in it, so Cyberpunk 2077 did.
Well, Cyberpunk 77, everybody, has been out for a little over a year, and Black Friday just happened.
Crickets. Okay.
Black Friday just happened, and it was on sale, and people bought it naturally because it's like $10. I don't know what else it was. It was dropping a lot. $30 some places, $10 other places. It was just dropping, and it's finally got positive reviews on Steam.
Nice.
It took a while, but it's having a
Finally?
good day. And developers were seeing this, and there was like one guy that was like, "I'm so happy right now, I could cry because of this." And like, and you know, I'm glad to see it finally happening. Like, Cyberpunk 2077 had a very rough launch. It was going to be so good. It came out. It was buggy as shit. They've been working on it a lot. And I'm hoping it's going to be better. I played it recently, actually, and it was...
I was about to ask.
It was better.
Okay.
But it still had some bugs. But it was better. So I think it's probably in a good spot. I mean, this was like 2 months ago when I picked it back up, so more stuff may have come out. But they delayed all the next gen updates. They had delayed the new expansion and stuff like that. And now it has come out that after a year of fixing this game, bringing out patches, this, that, whatever, that sometime in the first 3 months of next year, we should see the next gen updates, PS5 and Xbox Series X versions of Cyberpunk, as well as an expansion is in production and moving along nicely. So I'm interested. I'm curious.
I mean, it's too little too late, I feel like. Even though there's positive reviews, people are playing it, and, you know, a sell is great, helps move product, and awesome. Happy that people are starting to enjoy it, but... like, I'm going to install this game on my new laptop to see how it looks. I'm not going to play it that long. Like, I was playing it on my desktop PC because I had the 3070. It was fun for a while, but, I mean, it is tedious, and the pacing is not that great. And do I want to jump back in? Like, I'd rather jump back into The Witcher.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So you don't want to put that time into
I don't. I mean, there's still issues with that game.
I guess I can see that.
And it's not, maybe they're not as glaring as they were before, but, you know, my heart's not in it anymore. And I'm happy for the people who jump in it now and can get into it and have a good time.
Get into it fresh and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, I know about all the BS that's happened, and it's just like, yeah, it's just too much weight on my shoulders for what has happened with this game, sadly.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I liked the game when it came out. Like, I appreciate.
Yeah, we both liked it.
The
actually.
gameplay was
talking
rough. There was some parts that, like, I feel like the melee combat is not great. But I love the world. I actually like the story. I thought the side quests were kind of cool too. They were interesting. I mean, some of them were kind of silly and stuff like that, but it was still a good time. So I want it to succeed, and I know a lot of people put a lot of time into it. It's just one of those deals where it's like the executives are the ones that fucked this up, and that's just unfortunate for everybody else that put their heart and soul into this game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I wanted there to be a multiplayer component to it, and there will be probably eventually, but who knows if that's...
At that point,
I
what's
don't
the
know
point?
if that's me worth it at that point, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that the game continues to excel. I think it's a good game. I think there's some good story beats here. I want people to play it. It's not probably Witcher 3 quality, but
Well, we're at a time where the industry is moving really quick.
yeah.
If you don't have your feet under you, I mean, you're basically If you're not hitting the ground running, you're already left behind. It's over.
So you don't think this whole Black Friday deal for the game is not going to help this game? Like,
I mean, it's going to help it a little bit, but they've already said that they're going to do all this stuff. It's just like at this point,
I mean,
what,
prime example.
who cares?
Look at No Man's Sky. How poorly it did opening. Like
Right.
you said,
And it's still the biggest success in the world right now.
They were able to turn it around.
I'm happy for them, but that should be 1 in a million, and it feels like everyone's trying to do that right now.
Yeah.
True. You're not wrong about that, actually.
It's like all these games come out buggy and broken, and then they're like, "Oh, we're gonna fix it because this game's a service," and it's just like, look, I'm gonna play your game, review it, but then I'm not gonna come back to it.
I feel like what you're kind of saying, and I think I agree with this, is that we need to stop feeling hopeful for these games that release in a sad, shitty state, because this is becoming more and more commonplace. And if we're like a year down the line after release date, yeah, this game's great finally, it's like, that's great, but it should have been great when it launched.
Yeah,
True.
And that's where they I mean, we can't sit. This is becoming okay for a game to come out broken and bad.
Yeah.
Look at Battlefield 2042. It's like a year from now, the game's gonna be great. But right now, it's very, very buggy. I still love it.
I'm having
but
fun.
I'm having a good time too, yeah. But it's
Well,
like, it's gonna be that way.
You're paying to be the beta testers for this game.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And it was never like that before until we had games as a service, and there was like, oh, we can kind of skip on this and skip on that, make a bunch of money still.
Yeah.
But even those games came out in better states than the games coming out now.
I have heard some people say that Skyrim was buggy as shit when it first launched. And it's still buggy as shit. But
yeah, I believe it.
I'm curious if that's true or not. But I've seen some videos of people talking about basically defending Cyberpunk, and that, and even The Witcher 3 I heard was like had a rough launch.
I heard that
well,
too. Yeah.
Which I don't think anybody played it at launch is the thing. It's like it didn't get picked up until the Game of the Year edition came out. Then it was like, oh shit, everybody's buying that thing. And I feel like this isn't going to get Game of the Year, but when the next gen release comes out and they have a new chance to market it, I bet it's going to get like a new resurgence of like, okay, this game there's gonna be a following here.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we're just too into the Wii's and stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone else is like behind us.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think what you're saying is onesie twosies, that it is nothing that major, but with this one, it's on the level of, like I said, No Man's Sky. It's just it was bad, and they promoted it to be a fucking hands down phenomenal game.
Yep. Hype out the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it happens, and I mean, I'm happy to support them now, because the other thing too that I think I still want to give credit where credit is due, in that, there are things that can happen. Like in their situation here with Cyberpunk, they made this game. Clearly, nobody was doing their due diligence to make sure that this ran well on consoles. It was all tested on the highest end PCs, and that was it, which is like a flag in itself. Like, that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah.
But
oh yeah,
I see that with GTA all the time. I mean, Grand Theft Auto is launched like shitty a lot of times, especially on PC. It always launches poorly, which is why they bring it out on console first, because that they can control the environment better.
Yeah,
but
that makes sense.
I think with this one, like it definitely. I mean, they didn't test it right. Clearly, they spent a lot of time, and then it sounds like too there was. I mean, we've talked about this before, but there was a lot of issues like early on of like them not really getting the ideas nailed down early enough, and it was kind of like a Mass Effect issue where it's like they didn't really finish the game, like get really into the game until like 3 years before it came out, which isn't enough time. So
that's been an issue with a lot of games.
But then we got games like Guardians that, like, you don't hear about it, and then bam, here it is.
Out of the way, just out of nowhere, blows you out of park, and you're just like, yes.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Very happy.
It's just one of those things that, like, Cyberpunk, I just think they try to put too much in there, and it was trying to be too heavy of a game. Like, I think some of the RPG elements just aren't great in that game, and that's if they focus more in on like just the story and the open world and the driving and that and like those key pillars, and like limited some of the RPG stuff, limited some of the extra side shit you can do, because there's some side stuff in there. It's just a waste of time. It's just filler content, and that doesn't need to be there.
I mean, if things are be games as service, why not like release a part of the game that's like super polished and has so many hours in it, and then just like, hey, this is the continuation that we can't get to right now, and a lot of time that we have, and that will come out as DLC.
Yeah.
And maybe the first part's like $20.
No, because
Then the next part's $20.
Well, like you said before, everything keeps moving. You'll have another new game come out, and then you won't ever go back to that game because you're playing this new game. That's the issue I had with Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
I was about to say that, yeah.
Like, I was enjoying that game. I loved it, but once I got to a point, it was done and over with. I'm like, okay, I'm going to bounce on to something else. And then they came out with more content when I'm already playing this.
I'll say that's a special case because it's a fucking long game. It is so long.
Yeah.
Like with The Witcher, that was an amazing game, right?
Yeah.
And I would go back and play that. I played that multiple times because for me, maybe they've updated at that point when I bought it, but there wasn't so many bugs and I could play through and it was amazing. But here it's different, you know?
Well, with Witcher, you were also obsessed with that game on the modding side, which made a big difference.
That was
too.
outside of that.
Yeah.
Because I played through the game first and then I got into modding later on.
Right.
After I played it a few more times.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure out, I mean, if people are going to do games as a service, like what's the best way to do it? Because you can't make this 1,000-hour epic with a giant living city. Like, it's just unrealistic.
Yeah. Well, Cyberpunk's not any game as a service. It's just a game.
I know.
That just happened to just have too much shit in it that wasn't well
were very
optimized
ambitious.
and well designed. Yeah.
Well, everyone expects that too. We talked about that before. Like, you got to have a Assassin's Creed Valhalla world in order to like sell a game. But it's like, you don't.
Well, I look at Kenna, like, I mean, that game is an open world, but there's just enough there that you have that, but it's not, I don't feel like there's anything in there that's like super fluff. I mean, there's a few like little fluff pieces like collectibles and shit like that, but they didn't have the budget to do that, and they did what they could with the budget that they had, which was really great gameplay, really great graphics, and a very cool, a very interesting story.
So is that what we're missing? The foundation of a game is just the gameplay and then worry about the other later on? And do you think they were just too ambitious? Because I haven't played this game. They focus in on the gameplay and everything else with it, and it was just too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's just a lot. There's too many systems and moving parts in this game that are like just like really made it to where it's, I mean, you have these missions in here where you just like have NCPD, they're a Night City Police Department, like missions that are just like you go kill a bunch of bad guys and save the police or help the police out, or you go fight these like there's like criminals on the side of the road that you go fight, and these are things that are everywhere, and these are things that had to be designed. You had to figure out where the placement of these characters were and this, that, whatever, that just does not need to be there. Okay. It's literally just for XP and that's it. And the XP part of it too, it's like there's a whole RPG mechanic to, like, you have different pathways you go that you upgrade your skills, and then you unlock perks and stuff like that help you out. And that system is deep, but I don't feel like any of it is, it's very complicated without giving you any value to that complication. Like, there's a bunch of different and then there's also a bunch of different pathways you can go down. If you build your tree down one direction, you don't really know in that game, like, do I want to focus in on melee versus like shotguns throughout the entire game? They don't give you any like time to figure that out until you've spent a bunch of points, and I don't think you can respec or like redo any of that stuff. And so you're like kind of like committed to a pathway without really knowing how the game plays in the first place. Right. So it's just like that foundation there is kind of broken, in that they should have like unlocked that tree, that RPG tree, like way later, once you've had a time to like really explore the whole entire game. And
and maybe it's been patched since then, but I heard people be like, it's not until like you have to spend your points on a bunch of shitty things until towards the end you start unlocking like really powerful,
really cool
skills.
Things. Yeah,
and it's just like, okay, so what's the path I need to take? So there's a lot of issues, and originally we did enjoy the game and it was fun, but over time it's definitely some glaring issues. I'm
gonna dive back into it here before long and just get going with it again, because I missed the story. I had fun with the story, and just the world was cool. I mean, it's a nice looking world. So now that it runs better a little bit,
a little bit, because they just, before you can go in there and there'd be like a crap ton of people walking around, and now they stripped that out. There's hardly anybody walking around now.
Right. Oh, really? Huh. Interesting.
And I don't think you can increase that.
Yeah.
Maybe you can. I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
But
Check it out.